let us look at the code to see how we have changed it based on the principles that we've discussed in this unit. Remember that the goal of physical design is to produce assemblies that are easy to modify, test, and deploy, to enable parallel development, and to make change management easier when you deploy. There are two basic principles that we use for physical design. Look at the interfaces and separate out the types from the implementation. And the second is to see how design patterns naturally divide an application into the code that implements the pattern, the code that uses the pattern, and the code that is isolated from the pattern. And now we're going to take a look at the code in step 4. We have two interfaces, iCustomer and iCustomer Manager, which we assume will change slowly if they change at all. Note that we have put both of these in a separate assembly called types. We put the implementation classes, Customer Manager and Customer, in separate assemblies. Note that the main application now only depends on the types assembly and not on Customer Manager or Customer. Now let us take a look at the second principle. The Customer Manager Factory.cs is put in a separate assembly called Customer Manager Factory. It isolates the Customer Manager from the main program. This enables the two to evolve independently, and if necessary, the application class could be tested with a mock or a stub implementation of iCustomer Manager. We will discuss more about this when we discuss dependency injection. But for now, we'll just explain this, as this would possibly simplify the testing of the main application. Remember that the goal here is partitioning and testability, not reuse. Now, if these assemblies have strong names, they can be independently versioned. In the next step, what we have done is divided our project into separate solutions. This is not absolutely necessary, but we've done this to further the idea and further illustrate the idea that these can evolve independently of each other. Now note, to further illustrate this point, inside the Customer Manager project, we have added a Visual Studio test project, which will run and demonstrate that we can independently test the Customer Manager independent of everything else. In the next units, we will start to add functionality to our application using the principles of logical and physical design that we have discussed in the first two units.